Hey, what is up guys? It's Brendan here, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to get a student loan without a cosigner and what are some of the best student loan options without a cosigner. That's what we're going to be breaking down here in today's video. And of course, if you want to check out any of the companies we mentioned here in today's video, you can check out those links linked down below in the video description. Again, some of which are affiliate links, which could be a great way to help out and support the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the topic of today's video, of course, of how to obtain student loans without a cosigner and what are some of the best companies when it comes to getting a student loan without a cosigner. Now, first, it's important to, of course, understand what are your options when it comes to securing a student loan in the first place without a cosigner, right? Is it achievable? And especially when you're looking at different types of student loan options. Now, first and foremost, your best bet is to first start with federal student loans. Now, federal student loans, you can maximize those by completing the free application for federal student aid from the FAFSA, and that is directly from the U.S. government. One of the biggest benefits of utilizing this program is that you don't actually need a cosigner, right? You don't need a cosigner. As with most federal loans, other than their Direct Plus loans, the borrower's credit is not considered, so it's not necessary to apply with a cosigner for a federal student loan. Now, in terms of things you need to understand with that, of course, is that federal student loans do come with limits, and these limits may not cover your entire cost of tuition and your total cost of going to school. Now, this is going to be your best bet in terms of saving money and the fact that you don't need a cosigner, but it doesn't necessarily always fulfill the full picture, right? A lot of times students typically need to top off with additional funding, and that's kind of where, private student loans do come into the picture here when you're looking at federal versus private student loans and what you may need to get when it comes to filling that funding gap for your upcoming college semester or what you need for your money. Now, of course, it's important to explore the different federal loan options and what that comes with, but of course, these federal loans do have limits on the total amount that you can borrow. So if you need additional funding beyond these limits, again, you need to explore other avenues in which that typically looks like private student loans in order to pay for college. Again, after exploring federal loans, private student loans can help if you still need more money to cover college expenses. So what are private student loans? What does that look like? Well, if you do want to check out some of the best private student loans, I actually have this page right here where we put together the list of the top picks for private student loans, handpicked, and some of the top rated companies. I will leave a link to this page at that first link in the video description. That's brevaleski.com/best student loans. It'll take you right over this page here where you can check out the list of the top picks for student loan lenders for private student loans. And actually on our number one choice is actually College Ave. Now, College Ave does offer pretty good private student loans, and one of the benefits using a company like College Ave is they actually have a pre-qualification with as for part of their lending option because they are a private lender that offers loans without a cosigner. Now, although typically, you do need to have a strong credit history or some sort of consistent income as a borrower, it is important to use soft credit checks to compare potential rates without impacting your credit score. And as you can see here, checking rates won't affect your credit score, so you can do that here with College Ave. If we take a look here at their site, again, they offer student loans when it comes to undergraduate, parent, career loans, as well as dental, MBA, health professions, law, and medical on the graduate loan, student loan side of things. And they also do offer student loan refinancing in case at any point in the future, you may also need to refinance your student loans at better interest rate. That's something you can always go through with College Ave. Now, in terms of securing those private student loans, they do have fixed and variable rates. In terms of what that looks like, fixed rates stay the same, whereas variable rates fluctuate based on market conditions. And now, these rates that you see on screen here today, of course, are subject to change. It does depend on when you're watching this video, and you need to actually see as to what you qualify for through their online application to see what kind of interest rates that you may get. Now, the thing to understand when you're applying for student loans, and especially if you don't have a cosigner, right? This is directly from College Ave. What if I don't have a cosigner for a student loan? Now, most students have limited credit history and income, so they will need a cosigner who has good established credit in order to be eligible for a private student loan. Now, that's not always the case, of course, because you can use their pre-qualification tool to see if you need a cosigner or not, and there's no impact to your credit score, so you don't have to worry. It is a soft pull with College Ave, which is, again, one of the nice benefits of utilizing them. Now, be aware, of course, when you're applying in terms of eligibility, and keep in mind that you will generally, of course, always have better eligibility more or less with a cosigner, especially if you do have a thin file or a limited credit history or no credit history. But there are different things that do take into account when you're applying for student loans. Of course, maybe if you already have a student credit card, maybe if you have some level of credit history, maybe if you were added as to your parents' credit cards growing up as a kid, that could have increased your overall credit score and actually given you some sort of a file or a credit history. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind in terms of where you may be eligible, even if you don't have a cosigner for a student loan. This is things like if you were added as an authorized user to your parents' credit card. Again, that's one other route that you could have also maybe established some sort of credit history growing up, right? So in the case that you maybe are a little bit more established, maybe this is your second, third, fourth year, maybe you still need student loans, right? If you have a job or some kind of income, that can also help qualify you for the student loans as well. Or if you have some sort of side income or something you're doing while you're in college, that can also help you get approved and help you for their qualification and to see if you qualify as a student. Now, again, they do have their free online pre-qualification tool. If you'd like to check that out, again, you can check out the links in the video description. You can click see how to apply, and that will take you right over to College Ave, where you can apply as the student borrower, and you can see whether or not you qualify without a cosigner. Again, if you need a cosigner, you can always add in a cosigner at some date in the future if that's an option for you. Again, you're gonna typically get better interest rates because you're able to piggyback off of a parent, a guardian, maybe an aunt, uncle, whoever is trusted to be a cosigner for you, if that's a possibility. Again, I understand not everybody has that as a possibility, but that typically does lend you to better interest rates. But if you have some sort of credit history established, or maybe a little bit older, maybe you're applying for a graduate student loan, you should be just fine applying for the student loan as a student borrower just by yourself if you have some sort of credit history established. Now, in terms of eligibility checks, what College Ave actually looks at in terms of your overall eligibility when they're going through this process is that they can check things like your GPA, enrollment status, income level, and just be aware that that's what some lenders may require in order to be approved, whether it be with College Ave or even any other company, right? So it's important to compare the rates and terms that you do get from different lenders, especially when you don't have a cosigner, because you are going to be subject to possibly higher interest rates. Just depends on what your eligibility is and where your income falls in terms of those factors that we discussed. Now, in terms of comparing them, right, they do have different repayment options when it comes to College Ave. They do have in-school payments that you can use as part of the loan. In terms of what you're going to be paying, right? You can have in-school payments. You can also cover 100% of the school's costs of attendance. Again, that's up to that certified cost of attendance. So that does include things like tuition, books, laptops, any kind of things that you need for school, even cost of living aspects as well. Again, that's going to be available directly from your school or your college financial advisor as far as how much that looks like, as far as what the actual school costs are. Now, in addition to that, it's also important to consider, again, be aware of those potentially higher interest rates and limited protections that come with going for a student loan without a cosigner, because they don't always necessarily offer the same protections that a federal loan would offer in terms of income-driven repayment or loan forgiveness with federal student loans, as that's something that may be available, but it also may not be, because it depends on the U.S. federal government as far as what kind of programs that may be there. In terms of improving your situation, right, if you really do not have the ability to get a cosigner, what are some options that you have when you're actually going through and applying? Is important to maybe build a strong credit history, right? If you can build a strong credit history, that can help you in the process. So start paying all your bills on time and in full. Minimize those credit card balances by keeping your credit utilization rate low, and monitor your credit reports. Again, that can be things through Experian, your free credit reports. Maybe if you have the Chase app, they also have a free credit score checker inside there. So pretty much most banks, Wells Fargo, pretty much everybody has one of those. So check your credit, stay up to date. Another option is to consider a secured credit card or a student credit card, and this can help establish credit and demonstrate responsible financial behavior. And this is something that you can maybe use if you want to use it for maybe the next semester, or currently something you can do as well. Again, some of that credit history and improving your credit history is something that does take a bit more time. It's not necessarily something you can do instantly. It is going to take several months to kind of build that up over time and to improve your situation. Now, another option, as I did touch on earlier, is become an authorized user on another's account. Maybe your parents don't want to co-sign for the loan. Maybe they'll add you as an authorized user on a credit card. That is another way to build credit history, but it's important to, choose wisely, because if the primary account holder is not responsible, that could actually, negatively impact your credit score. So do that with important considerations there. But overall, federal loans generally offer, better interest rates and protections, but they don't always cover up to the total cost that you may need. And private student loans can be still a good option that you may be able to still secure even with a no cosigner loan. Again, there's companies like College Ave, SoFi, Sallie Mae, Credible, Earnest. All of these you can shop around and see how to apply at the links in the video description. And even if you do decide that you may want to get a cosigner to get a better interest rate, a lot of these do have cosigner releases after 36 on-time payments. So even if maybe initially you were gonna go in with no cosigner, you can still opt for loans that may have cosigner release. So that's another option if you don't get approved for the no cosigner option. There is at least cosigner releases available on a lot of loans, but just make sure you check the fine print that they do have a cosigner release. If that's something that, again, if you're able to get a cosigner, if they're on the fence about it, that's something that might help you as well in terms of making the case there. Again, that's only in the case that if you're not approved for the no cosigner loan, but it's important to check your options. Again, build out steps to build a positive credit history in the future, like I outlined here in this video, and that can increase your chances of obtaining the necessary funding for your education, again, without requiring a cosigner, so you can be more independent and not necessarily have to rely on somebody and when you're securing your loans. I get it's difficult, especially if you're young, especially if you don't have credit history, but those are some key ways that you can help improve that. Again, if you want to check out these companies, also Sallie Mae can be another good option as well in terms of applying for student loans. They do have a lot of good fixed interest rates, and you can also check and see how to apply the links in the video description. Do keep in mind, though, with Sallie Mae it is a hard credit pull, whereas with College Ave, it is a soft pull, so it's not going to impact your credit score when you're seeing what you pre-qualify for with a company like College Ave, whereas a company like Sallie Mae, it is going to be a hard credit pull when you go through the online application. And if you're serious about shopping around for loans, at one point, once you actually go through the full loan application process for any kind of student loan, it will be a hard credit pull at the end, but you can at least pre-qualify without impacting your credit and as a soft pull with College Ave. So that's kind of one of the other benefits of using a company like them. But guys, hopefully you found this video helpful on securing student loans without a cosigner. Again, the information outlined here can be helpful in terms of it not only just improving your credit score, but the fact is that you do still have that option, and see if you can do it without a cosigner. Again, if you have limited credit history and income, it can still be difficult, but you may not need a cosigner to get a student loan even with a thin credit history. Again, check out the links in the video description, see how to apply from a lot of different companies, see what you qualify for, and see if you're able to get it done. Otherwise, take the steps to improve your credit score over the long haul, and then you maybe come back and apply in the future at a later date to secure your student loan. So guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you did, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway guys, that's all for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.